I just see on our screen right now Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., the 46th President of the United States, walking down, smiling, waving. Here he is on his first trip to India as President of the United States, dear friend of India, being welcomed by the MEA Protocol Officer. General V.K. Singh is here, Minister of State in the Modi government, former Indian Army Chief, welcoming American President Joe Biden. Eric Garcetti will welcome him next. Eric Garcetti is the American ambassador in New Delhi. He came in earlier part of this year. Very popular American politician sent by Joe Biden. His nomination held up for a couple of years. He's got some story, I don't know what it is, but I will ask General VK later what that story was, which has got them laughing at this moment. There he is, the American ambassador welcoming his president. That's a nice moment.
Come now, follow my lead. Come now, follow my lead.
They just showed them all the dancers who are standing by. They're now walking to where that cultural welcome is being set up. General V.K. Singh talking him through that. And I see Eric Garcetti's got his own social media game going, taking images of his President Biden, waving out to the cultural troupe. So Biden now getting into the vehicle to head towards Lok Kalyan Marg, the Prime Minister's residence, where he will get into a bilateral dialogue with the Indian Prime Minister. And Gaurav, do you want to take our viewers through the key points of the agenda of the discussion during the bilateral and the possible outcomes?
So Rahul, when the heads of state and government of the most powerful democracies meet, it's not just bilateral, though bilateral is huge, it's also multilateral. But let's take this one by one. On bilateral, India's strategic security and strengthening India, especially when you're facing an expansionist neighbor. So the MQ-9 Reaper drones, there is forward movement on the Reapers and the Predators, those unmanned combat aerial vehicles. That's point one. Point two, forward movement on the GE-414 engines for the light combat aircraft. And this is not just procuring those engines, but it's also manufacturing those engines in India, the GE-414 engines. So those are two big takeaways. There's also more on military hardware. There's more on 5G and 6G technology, more on civil nuclear. The agreements already happened, but how do you now take it to the next level? So there's conversation happening on those lines. So this is really huge, and perhaps the diplomats on our panel can tell us better. But both India and the United States of America, with other friends, will put the shoulder
these Predator drones, Gaurav. India desperately needs these long-range, deadly Predator drones. But how soon do we get them? I see at this moment American President Joe Biden looking at some papers. He's being briefed by his officials. How soon do we get these killer drones, Gaurav?
So the Indian Navy is already operating some of these. Of course, they're on lease, and the Indian Navy so far is quite happy with the performance, is what we are being told. After Indian Navy, both the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force need these. And Rahul, these Predator drones or the Reaper versions of these were extremely critical for our security, not just in the Himalayas, but also in the Indo-Pacific. Now, keeping sea lanes of communication free, keeping an eye on what's happening, what's the adversary doing. So the time frame, we are told, from the time it's inked, the Predators that the Indian Navy needed, or the Sea Guardians that the Indian Navy needed on lease, they came very quickly. What route are we taking from this point on? Once that deal is inked, it will not take much time, is what we've been assured. Within a couple of years, we should have them operational. We have the know-how, we have the capabilities, Navy's operated it, and now the Army and the Air Force is also looking forward to it, Rahul.